This is Dante Williams, and you're watching
Dante's
Boxing Nation.
This is Showtime Sean Porter. Filipino Flash, Jesse Burns.
This is Al Bernstein. You're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Hi, I'm Sugar Ray.
Chick Shape.
Search over last name one.
Dante's Boxing Nation.
Boom, 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 boom. Yo, this is Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder.
My name is Gennady Golovkin.
And you're watching
Dante's Boxing Nation.
Hi, this is Julian Jackson, and this is Dante Boxing Nation.
This is Julia Jackson, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation. All right. Were you surprised that Golovkin, he was interested in fighting someone like a Froch or a Chavez, but he said he wasn't really interested in fighting you?
Hey man, I think they made a mistake by that move that they made. They misstepped, they miscalculated, and when Chavez pulled out or didn't want to fight or whatever the situation was, they didn't look good. My thing was just simply, don't bring my name up constantly as if you want to fight. I'm not a bully. I'm not chasing 60-pounders and 54-pounders. When I keep hearing my name come up, and I'm out and about and fans are asking me about it, I put the pressure on them. I said, man, listen, either step up or stop bringing my name up.
When you called out Chavez like a year ago, it seemed like the fans, they said, why don't you fight Golovkin instead? They were protecting Chavez. Now you calling out Golovkin, they're saying, why don't you fight Kovalev? Do you think it's just a little bit of love for Golovkin right now?
Man, I don't like, my thing with Golovkin is I have nothing against Golovkin. I actually like Golovkin. I like his approach to the game. I like he's humble. The kid can go. I've never disputed his skill set. He's a silver medalist. Like, the kid can go. He's got heavy hands. He's a good fighter. We don't know how good he is. We don't know how good any of us are until we fight the best. He hasn't had that opportunity yet. But, it's the people around him that like to talk and like to, have the smoking mirrors and just, that's the stuff that, like me, I'm kind of cut and dry. And, my thing is, if it's something there and we're going to fight, let's fight. If not, then just, be honest with the fans. I mean, I just want the biggest and best fights out there. We hear a lot about, giving the fans what they want to see. And, it's just, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if I was in any other era. If I was around with the Haglers and the Roy Jones and Nigel Benn and Gerald McClellan's, like, these guys just wouldn't let me be number 2 pound for pound and have a belt and not want what I had. If I was in any other era, so I don't understand it right now.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Well, it was only about a month ago. It's amazing how things change like the weather when it comes to boxing negotiations, or maybe I should say when it comes to fighting against Andre Ward. It's amazing how the conversation changes so often. It was only about a month ago that Golovkin's promoter, Tom Loeffler, he was basically saying, we'll fight Andre Ward, but we'll fight him with a 50-50 split at a catch weight of 164 pounds, right? These were the stipulations for a possible fight. Now, keep in mind, if you go beyond that, there was a time when Gennady Golovkin, or I should say Team Golovkin, they were aggressively pursuing a fight with Carl Froch and what's his name? Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. But guess what? This is the kicker. They wanted to fight the bigger Froch and Chavez at the 168-pound limit. No catch weight, right? So this was a while ago. Fast forward to today, the conversation has completely changed when it comes to Andre Ward. Just remember, guys, I just told you, Tom Loeffler, he just said a while ago that he's willing to fight Andre Ward 50-50 split at a catch weight. Then after that, maybe a couple weeks later, then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Tom Loeffler says, we're not interested in fighting Andre Ward at all. We'll probably, maybe in 2017, he says something like that. Now, and of course, Andre Ward, he had to respond to this. And when I say respond, that's exactly what he did. Not only did Andre Ward respond to this, but he even gave Triple G a new nickname. Check it out. Quote, it's not Triple G no more. It's Little G. Little G turned down an official fight with us. I don't know, about a month ago. I just don't talk about this stuff a lot. The reality is, for all the talk, for all the websites, the trainer and the promoter went off on, for all the radio, for all that they said, the proof is in the pudding. I have an email right now that shows that we gave him what he wanted. We'll give you 50-50. These are the terms. These are the conditions. And the promoter turned it down. Said maybe in 2017. So from now on, he's Little G. They turned it down in 5 minutes. End quote. Now, before I give you my thoughts on the matter, I just want to say this. I read this article on boxingnews24.com. The interview, I believe, was conducted by Fight Hub, according to, news24.com. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because I know with this website, boxingnews24.com, you can usually tell how big a story is by the amount of comments that it has. Usually a big story has about 400 or 500 comments. This story right here is closing in on 1,000 comments. Yes, the story of Andre Ward calling Triple G Little G. So the point that I'm making is, so for the Golovkin fans that pray that Golovkin doesn't fight Andre Ward, and they say silly stuff like, Andre Ward, he doesn't have a following, nobody wants to watch him, he doesn't get any views, and no one shows up to his fights, to say all of this ridiculous stuff, like there's no buzz when it comes to Andre Ward. Right now, Andre Ward has the biggest story on this website right now, okay? You cannot sit here and tell me that Willie Monroe has a bigger following than Andre Ward. You can't sit here and tell me that Adama has a bigger following than Andre Ward, right? And the list goes on and on and on. There's no way you can tell me that. So the truth comes to light as it always does. I mean, we've heard stuff like trainer Abel Sanchez call Andre Ward a diva, which that never made any sense, calling him a diva to me, right? We've heard so many people say it was always an excuse. Oh, Andre Ward will be difficult in negotiations. He's going to want too much money. He's going to want this. He's going to try to make the negotiations extremely difficult, etc., 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 right? And then all of a sudden, you hear Andre Ward out of his own mouth say, I can show you an email where I gave them what they wanted and they turned me down in 5 minutes. Guys, do you know if this was the other way around? Meaning, if Andre Ward was the guy that wasn't on the coincidental list and Golovkin was, do you know what they would be saying about Golovkin right now? They would be calling Golovkin the biggest cherry picker. They would be saying he is not even to be taken serious. He's knocking out bums. Why won't you fight Andre Ward? This is what they would be saying if Golovkin was on the coincidental list, right? We know this to be true. Because if you listen to these ignorant ass fans, you'll find out that they give more credit to Golovkin's career of fighting Willie Monroe, Martin Murray, Marco Antonio Rubio, Adama, Gabe Rosado. They give him more credit for fighting those fighters than they give Floyd Mayweather. And when I say they, please pay attention because I'm only talking about the decafs, not the professional community like trainer Nacho Beristain, boxers like De La Hoya, Felix Tito Trinidad. Forget about what De La Hoya is saying now. Let's remember what he said after Floyd Mayweather beat Shane Mosley. Because see, the coldest thing about a motherfucking microphone and a camera is you can't fucking remove that shit. Okay? That's why a microphone and a camera is one of the most dangerous weapons in the world. You can say whatever the hell you want to say later, but you can't just change that shit whenever you please, right? You can't go into no motherfucking interrogation room and tell the police officers, yeah, I did it. Matter of fact, let me tell you in detail exactly how I did it. I went in there, I used the third knife to the left, right? I stabbed her approximately 20 times, okay? And then I left a little piece of gum on the counter that, you know, which will have my DNA and everything, by the way. All right? I did all of this shit, and then I pulled out in a motherfucking Bronco. You'll see my tire tracks, you know, if you guys look in the driveway, pulling out, right? You can't say all of that shit and then 5 years later say, oh, I never did that shit. I was framed. I was coerced into saying that shit, blah, blah this and blah, blah that. It doesn't work that way. A camera and a microphone is a cold-ass weapon, all right? So let me get back to what I was saying, the pro community. When you hear the pro community talk about Floyd Mayweather, it does not reflect what you hear from the decaf, the dumb, casual-ass fans. I talk to professional boxers and trainers all the time, and they always say the same thing about certain fighters, special fighters, all the way from special fighters to overrated fighters. Like I said, we hear all this buzz about Gennady Golovkin, and the people who love Golovkin, they also love Freddie Roach, right? You guys that love Golovkin, you love Freddie Roach, right? So when I asked Freddie Roach, who is the future pound for pound star in the sport of boxing, you would have thought Freddie Roach would have jumped and said, oh, Triple G. It's Golovkin, no doubt about it. Or, oh, it's Canelo, no doubt about it, right? You think Freddie Roach mentioned those names? Not at all. You know whose name he mentioned? He mentioned Errol Spence, right? If you guys spend times in the gyms, if you guys get out a little bit, right? And you actually see what's going on in these boxing gyms, and you start to talk to boxers and trainers, what you will find out, the guy that they're praising is not Golovkin. The guy that they're praising is Errol Spence. But then you have to ask yourself the question, wow, if Errol Spence is getting all this praise, how come he's not being received by the fans the same way, if not more? How come the reception is not bigger for Errol Spence than it is for Gennady Golovkin? Because it ain't nothing but a motherfucking coincidence, if you know what I mean, right? So back to Andre Ward. You know, when it comes to Andre Ward, a lot of you boxing fans believe that Golovkin is the best, right? Some of you guys even believe that he should take Mayweather's spot in the pound for pound list. He should be number one now. A lot of you guys feel that everyone wants to watch Golovkin. He's the most popular. He's the most liked. Oh man, he gets the knockout. He always gets the knockouts, right? If Gennady Golovkin is the biggest star, if he's the future, if he's going to carry Floyd Mayweather's torch, if that's the case, why wouldn't Andre Ward want to fight that guy, guys? Why would Andre Ward move up to 175 and fight someone who doesn't have the buzz that Golovkin has right now, when the guy who has the buzz has already told people he's willing to move up and fight multiple challenges at 168? Why would Andre Ward pass up on that, guys? Unless you guys are telling me that Golovkin is overrated and he's not that good, and really he's not ready for Andre Ward. Now, if you tell me that, then I would say, okay, guys, I understand. Maybe there's no reason for Andre Ward to fight Golovkin. Even his own fans are admitting that Golovkin is not ready. Golovkin will lose to Ward. Golovkin needs some more fights before he fights against Ward. If you were to say something like that, then I could agree with you and say, you know what? Yeah, let's take a little pressure off of Golovkin, right? Let's tell Golovkin things are going to be okay. You don't have to fight Andre Ward. I may say something like that if we got some honesty from the fans that are defending Golovkin. But that's not what we're getting. Instead, we're fucking seeing comments like, fuck you, Andre Ward. Leave Golovkin alone. Go fight someone else. Right? Wait, whoa. What's all this? Where is all the animosity coming from? Where is all of the emotions coming from? Just because a fighter is calling out who you claim to be the best? Now this fuck you Andre Ward, just because he wants to fight the best? Does that make any sense? You know, guys, when fans don't want to accept the reality, they don't want to accept the whole truth, deep down, they know the only person that could really beat Golovkin right now is Andre Ward. See, deep down in their heart, they're saying that. They're saying, man, we just got to keep Golovkin away from that monster Andre Ward. As long as we keep him away, we'll be okay. This is what they're saying deep down. But what we're hearing in the post that we're seeing is something totally different. Why? Because these are the type of people, they can't accept the truth. They can't accept the reality. So instead of having this conversation and trying to make sense, what they do is they say, fuck it. I'm just going to try to change the rules and change the subject. This is what people do in life in general. If they know that the person that they're talking to is right, if you're having a debate with someone, if you know that person is completely right and you be like, you saying to yourself, shit, I can't argue that. This motherfucker's right. You know what that person does? He says, fuck it. I'm just going to change the subject. This is what people do, right? If a 12-year-old boy gets murdered by a police officer because that 12-year-old kid had a toy gun, right? And the cop gets off, doesn't even go to prison, doesn't even get suspended from his job or anything like that. You know what the people who defend that cop, you know what they're going to say? Because they know deep down it's wrong that he killed that little kid. But you know what they're going to say? They're going to change the subject. What about black on black crime? And et cetera, et cetera. What the hell does black on black crime have to do with a little kid getting shot and killed by a police officer? No warning shot, no freeze, put your hands up, no nothing. Just jump out of the car, shoot, and kill the kid. And get away with it. When black people kill blacks, if you ever watched the first 48, the black killer goes to jail. No one is complaining about the killing. We're complaining about the justice system. We complain about the person either going to jail or not going to jail after he commits the crime, right? Crime has been here since the inception. That ain't gonna stop. That's why we still have police officers. Arresting the person and putting them in jail, making them pay for their crime, is what the justice system was supposed to be created for. Criminals being arrested for committing crimes, right? So I bring all this up to say this. When you're talking to someone and you know that the shit that they're saying is right and you cannot refute it, you simply just try to change the subject, right? Well, you could do two things. You could either be honest and say, okay, you're right. Andre Ward would most likely beat Golovkin, and Team Golovkin, they know that. They want to make as much money as they possibly can before they have to hang it up and fight Andre Ward. They know that once they fight Andre Ward, Golovkin will have a loss on his record, right? And what's so funny about me saying that is you have these fans that sat here when it came to Floyd Mayweather, they'll sit here and tell you, oh, being undefeated doesn't mean a damn thing. Floyd thinks because he's undefeated, he's better than anyone, he's the greatest, just because he's undefeated. First of all, it's not just because he's undefeated. Being undefeated has something to do with it, but it's not just because he's undefeated. But the same people who sit over here and say undefeated don't mean shit, when you look at Golovkin, that's all they care about is Golovkin remaining undefeated. You notice that? They don't care who Golovkin fights. Why do you think they don't have a problem with Golovkin fighting Willie Monroe? But they have a problem with him fighting pound for pound, number one, the best fighter in the world now with Floyd Mayweather gone. You got a problem with Golovkin fighting number one pound for pound fighter, Andre Ward, but you don't have a problem with Golovkin fighting against Willie Monroe? Something's not right here. Sounds to me like you just want a guaranteed win. Right? We all know what time it is. Even the decafs knows what time it is. This is what I say to Tom Loeffler. Tom, once again, is a great guy, man. He's a great guy, and he just wants the best for his client, Gennady Golovkin. We all know this. We all understand that. But I think there comes a time when maybe Tom should just be honest. Why doesn't Tom just come out, instead of trying to discredit Andre Ward, it'll be a tough sell and no one really wants to buy the fight. You can't use that argument when you're fighting against the Willie Monroes, the Adamas, the Marco Antonio Rubios that didn't really even come to fight. You can't use that argument and then say nobody wants to watch Andre Ward, when I don't even have to be a businessman, a promoter to know this. We all know that if Golovkin fought Andre Ward right now, Golovkin would generate the biggest numbers he has ever generated, okay? I mean, who is going to sit over here and really tell me you're a liar, Dante? Willie Monroe versus Golovkin will do way better numbers than a Golovkin versus Ward fight. Guys, understand this. Everything that they are saying about Andre Ward, they said the same things about Guillermo Rigondeaux when Donaire didn't want to fight Rigo. They said the same stuff. They said Rigo should go fight Gary Russell. He should go fight Gamboa. He should go fight anybody but Donaire. Then they will say nobody wants to watch the fight. The fight ain't going to be big. It's going to be a letdown, a disappointment, etc., etc. And of course, you go back and look in hindsight, and it turns out that Donaire did his best numbers against Guillermo Rigo. In fact, the fight was so big that they even had their own version of 24/7. Of course, it was one episode, but it was pretty much one episode of 24/7. Why did they do an episode of 24/7 for Donaire versus Rigo? They had never did it against Donaire against all his other opponents, right? Why did they do so? Why did their numbers do so well? We know what time it is. We know what time it is. Okay? All it is, Andre Ward, I don't like him, fuck him, all this personal stuff. Y'all hating on Andre Ward like he's Floyd Mayweather, right? But yet you don't have the same excuses to use when it comes to hating Andre Ward, right? But you're still sitting over here saying fuck him like you can't stand him. Why all the hate? Because he's on a coincidental list, that's why. And that's just proof to all you idiots that can't read between the damn lines. You sit over here saying, oh, Floyd just gets hated on because how he acts and how he does, this and that and all that kind of stuff. So why they sitting over here saying fuck Andre Ward, right? Why they sitting over here making racist videos about Guillermo Rigondeaux? Videos that got taken down, by the way. Why they doing that? Why they hating on Al Heyman? Al Heyman, Guillermo Rigo, Andre Ward, they haven't done any of the things outside of the ring, that Floyd Mayweather has done. So why they been hated? Because we all know what time it is. Oh, this ain't got nothing to do with race. It ain't got nothing to do with race at all. It is just a coincidence that all of the people that are treated this way just happen to be the same race. We know what time it is. I'm on to the next one.